So welcome to Marie's tree stump. Truth talks from my tree stump, or the union tree as we're now calling it now. So here's my tree stump. I sit upon her now to deliver the gospel of Marie. And yeah, I need to also come out and sit on my beautiful ancestor here, because it's really hectic right now. Chaos is all around, frenetic energy. There's a lot going on as each layer is just collapsing. Now, I've spoken a lot in my other videos about working with Hathor and, bringing all of that energy and frequency, as we enter into the womb, which is the underworld. I mean, a lot of my videos and talk about how I lost my beloved tree here, how she was cut down. It was the process of going into the underworld, the womb, and going into that sanctuary. Yeah, because it's dark, it's the place we fear of going, right? Because it's dark. But then we come to realize that the darkness is our sanctuary. It's where we actually came from in the beginning. So now we're starting to slowly realize that, welcoming in this entry back into the womb space before we resurrect, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Now, I want to bring a lot of medicine to this video because there is so much that I want to share to do with the stages that we are going through. Now, basically, this whole life that we've got going on, it's all about death, rebirth, and resurrection, isn't it? I mean, essentially, philosophy to philosophy, whichever lens you want to look through it at, that is how we become, and that is what our work and what our spiritual paths are all about, is remembering how to come into this very, very fluid cycle of death, rebirth, and resurrection without holding on or getting stuck in any of those processes, which is why the Heka codes, the groups and the one-on-ones that I run, I mean, you walk through that process with me, because we go through Siahu and Heka, which essentially is the death, rebirth, and resurrection process. And that is essentially where the magic and medicine comes from. That is where you are in full divine flow with your manifestation abilities and knowing how to work with alchemy. Because the only way that you can truly be an alchemist and full on create what you want in your life is by being able to align and move with the energies and frequencies, harmony, balance, joy, flow. And that is why we're going through this process now, which is quite intense for a lot of us, as we enter into the watery womb, coming back to the mother, because that is the final stage before we resurrect. So it's full circle stuff. So this is a very, very powerful time of becoming, because there's nothing else that's going to gain you entry into this space except stillness. And that's where it's really hard. Now, to enter into this stillness, let's call it to really fully deep dive into the absolute depths of the womb and be so fine with being there. We have entered into the womb, but maybe some of us are in different stages of the depth of that womb, if you know what I mean. Some of us are okay, we're in, but I'm not quite digging it. We're in, got loads of wounding coming up, and it will all be to do with mother issues, mother with source, Gaia, your own mother, you're being a mother yourself. There's that's basically the pinnacle point of our re-entry back into oneness wisdom. So we're all feeling it, and everybody's going, yeah, new earth timeline is upon us and it's all great and lovely, and then get shocked and kind of bewildered as well, why am I going through all this shit now? I thought this was supposed to be the becoming, and it's all wonderful and amazing. It is wonderful and amazing. You are just on the final veil of this perceived illusion of all of the pain, the separation, and that's why it's all coming at different directions and everything like that. Now, 2 days ago, I received a very, very powerful message when I was in down facing dog, actually. I was upside down, and in the class, the yoga teacher said, what's your intention? What are you bringing? The I am presence. I am, what are you? And I said, I am balance. I thought, well, that's an interesting one to come up. So I just sat with that for the day. And then as a couple of days have passed now, I've really felt the presence of Ma'at. Now I'm bringing Ma'at into the space now. Ma'at is an Egyptian goddess. I always show my arm because she's on there. Can you see? Maybe the sunlight is, yeah, there we go. She looks like Isis, but she has the ostrich feather there. Now Ma'at is, she has the 42 laws. She's all about balance, She's all about reconciliation, justice, order, cosmic truth. So I mean, really, she's Judgment Day. You know, it's like where the pharaohs go when they've had a full physical life, and then they want to go to the afterlife and they want to go and meet with Osiris. They have to go to the weighing of the heart with the feather. So that's all about balance, really, because if the scales don't balance and the heart is heavier, it's like, what did you do in this life? You ain't going to pass go, and you're going to stay here until you learn your lessons. So that, in a way, actually is where we're at. Now, it's a very tentative part because, you know, in that weighing of the feather, weighing of the heart against the feather scene, you have Thoth there, Ma'at is there, Anubis. You also have the two Ma'ats, which are Isis and Nephthys. Now I'm going to bring them into the forefront now so we can understand the concept of balance. Now I've been talking a lot about Hathor and Sekhmet and how those divine goddesses are one of the same, but they're two sides of the coin. Fire, brimstone, wow, all of that, you know, a destructive kind of, you know, shadow, let's burn it, break it down, transform it, alchemy. And then you have the flip side of that coin, which is Hathor, which is all like love, you know, creation, sacred sexuality, joy, balance, all of the rest of it. So it's a very sort of like opposite, but they are one. Energies and frequencies that make the whole. So now I'm bringing in Nephthys and Isis. Twin sisters are they. Now Nephthys is known as the goddess of the Lady of the House, actually. That's what they call her, Lady of the House. She's also known as the goddess of death. She's also known as the goddess of sorrow. She was barren, she couldn't have babies, so when she was impregnated by Osiris, she actually got pregnant, and it was just like, wow. She had an affair with Osiris, and that's how Anubis was born. But anyway, that's a whole backstory to do with the Egyptian stuff. I want to talk about, like, you know, the concept of the idea of Nephthys and Isis. So Nephthys kind of like embodies like in the shadows, behind the scenes. She's a powerful spellcaster, really powerful spellcaster. As I'm talking about her, I've just felt her just go whoosh, come in, okay? And she is the one that doesn't want to be seen. She was happy to stay in the temples, in the you know, in the palace, as it were, you know. And then her sister Isis was emanated exactly the opposite. She loved to be out with the people. She represented joy and you know, midwifery and life and living and, you know, being seen and all of the above, like expansiveness, out there, light. So she's the opposite to her sister, but when the two twin sisters come together, that is when Isis and Nephthys is at their most powerful and potent, when they come together in union, okay? So the other one doesn't oppose the other one. They might have a little bit of a kind of like divine friction, which makes the energy pop, because without dark, there is no traction. So we can't just be light, we have to have a balance of the two. So when we bring in Nephthys, which is one of the Ma'ats, and we bring in Isis, that actually really brings home the understanding that balance is everything right now. As we move through this very tentative stage of rebirth. We're not at resurrection yet. It's coming, it's right around the corner. So what does that look like in your life? This kind of, well, lack of balance, or maybe balance is coming in. You're going to start to feel yourself oscillate into the shadows and move with it a lot more fluidly, okay? So you're going to start to, and when you have that, that's when the two Ma'ats, the two sisters, become one, because you're moving with it all. But right now, we've got a lot to purge, but a lot to clear. So we've been just vibrating in the shadow and just like, oh, I've got to get it done, got to get it done. A little bit devoid of light and the joy, but it's starting to come now. But this is what Ma'at was saying. And Ma'at was saying about, like, in our lives, you know, there's been a lot of focus on like healing the divine feminine, quite rightly so, a lot of focus, but there's also been a lot of bad press on the guys as well. Like, you know, because a lot of the wounding we had was deeply, deeply seeded from the men. You know, we can go back to Grail stories of the well maidens and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, you know. So we've had a lot to clean up, haven't we? We've had a lot to bring into balance within the divine feminine. However, now there has to come to a point where the divine balance comes in, all right? Where we now forgive the man, the father that wasn't present, the husband that may have beat you, the husband who was just narcissistic or whatever it might be, or the brother, could also be that, you know what I mean? And it's like the bully, the controller, we have to forgive him now because that's done. because he wants to take his rightful place next to the divine feminine, right? So we are going through all of this mother wounding right now, because it's always, that's the root of it. You'll always be faced with that core wounding of the mother. That's where it all leads to. It all leads to that. We cannot move in, we cannot pass the threshold, step in over the threshold until we address our mother wounding. And then when she rises up, then the divine masculine, because now we're all good here, it's divine feminine in our lives, it's all cool bananas. Now the divine masculine can come in and take his place. But until this wounding is done, we're going to be like, you're the one who did this bad to me, whoa, whoa. And there's still this segregation. You see, we can't be balanced just in the divine feminine. So that is like what she was talking about, that like to really restore the true template within you, which is the divine union, which is oneness wisdom. We got to move through the mother wounding, however that's resonating with you in your life, okay? Keep purging all of that. Oh, Anubis is here. Not the god, but the dog. Keep purging. And this is what I was saying to somebody today. We're literally just having a spiritual vomit. Think about if you ate something that doesn't agree with you. You're going to purge it out of both ends, every part of your being. Think about when you're sick. The body gets a fever and it gets hot and it gets intense and it really needs to get rid of something. It fires up. What do we usually do? Take medication to keep the fire down? No, we want to burn this shit, okay? So we want to allow this kind of like process of purging these toxins. Now the toxins isn't necessarily from something you've eaten as such, it's something that's come in energetically. So if you're really in the eye of the storm, you are on to something. And even though you feel like you may not be coming to the end, you are, but it just feels like pain, just constant pain, there's no distinction. But you've got to go through the chaos. There's a lot of chaos energy around right now because it needs to knock us off our feet. It needs to disorientate us so we can't control. It needs to come in at a rate of velocity and just scramble you. So you're like, well, I don't know where to start. Good, let it go. So we are still purging, but it's a different purge to the dark night of the soul, right? So we are still purging. So now the divine feminine, she's gonna get there if she's not already there. I kind of feel in my own process, got a few things that I need to sort out. I know that are in my radar and I'm gonna get to it. But I think I'm pretty much there, which is allowing now the divine masculine to come in. Now let's just talk about where the divine masculine is. Now the masculines in your life, my son and my husband. My son's tweaking out and he has been over the last few weeks. It's just been a bit edgy and you can see there's an inner turmoil going on. And so is my husband as well. There's a lot of like internal chaos going on there. And it's not something that you can actually have a conversation with them about, because if you do, they might lose their shit, but you can feel it. So you can see that the divine masculine is on the move, quite rightly so, because he can't stay where he's always stayed. He now needs to leave that spot because we're moving to now come in and meet us. So quite frankly, what I'm saying is the divine masculine and the divine feminine are not going to rebuild the house that crashed down in flames. We're going to leave that spot now and we're going to move to somewhere else, higher ground. The divine feminine is going to set up shop, a new home. Divine masculine is going to come and meet you there. Now what is very, very powerful, and I just want to leave you with this now, okay? My husband and I, we've been married for 23 years, my twin flame, and we are going to Vic Falls, and we haven't even had a date night for like 23 years because it's like we're just not that kind of couple. He's invited me because he's in Zimbabwe and I'm Cape Town, and he's called me to come to Vic Falls, which is right on our doorstep because we're in Africa. The water spirits are calling, and the process and the place we're moving into right now is all about the water, heart. So isn't this profound that Marie's been married for 23 years? I have the most unromantic husband ever in the world, but I adore him. I love him for all of that. And he's romantically called me to Vic Falls, and we're coming into union, and we're going to sit with the water spirits. So that is a profound happening. So if that's happening in my life, that's pretty monumental. Let it be known that things are changing. So I just want to leave this video with you all. Let it all land, because I know that we're in those really tentative times. 2024 is just around the corner. We got a Tablets of Light tour. We got Heka codes. We got so many magical sacred missions and expeditions to be excited about. But right now, we just got to let that shit go. As always, from my tree stump, my love to you. Thanks for watching. Peace.